Oh, the worst thing anyone's ever said to me. Oh, I don't know. I'm just going to say there's so much to choose from,
Yeah.
really. I think it might have been at school. I mean, obviously, there was a lot of stuff at home that I'm probably not going to go into here, but at school, I think one of the worst things that was said was that sort of along the lines of I wouldn't amount to anything and that I wasn't bright enough to uh, be streamed into the sort of GCSE stream, and that I would have to do a mixture of GCSEs and CSEs. So there was something about that message of not being good enough, and I was at boarding school at the time, and I must have only have been about 12, I think. No, I would have been older than that. I maybe would have been about 14. I was at boarding school, and I had to say, I'm not prepared to accept that, and that I want to be in the GCSE stream. And they said, well, we'll do that, but we'll see how you get on. So I think that's been a bit of a metaphor for my life and for people in sort of authority, if you like, the parent type um, aspect of sort of being looked down on, or yeah, that I'm not good enough and that I don't deserve. I have to fight for things, to get what I want. So I think that's probably the worst thing. That's what stood out for me. The old, oh, you won't amount to very much, and yeah, I wasn't prepared to accept that. Um, yeah, I think that's probably the worst thing that I probably want to share here, I guess. Mm.
Oh, there's been a few of those. Um, a lot of it came from, I guess, my mom, and a lot of the violence that got a lot of the stuff came from my mom. However, she's not here now. However, my mom is an incredible woman as well and had so much trauma in her life. So nobody taught her how to parent. I mean, really, she had a terrible time. So I'm caveating that, yeah, I just want to put that out there. But she would say things that were pretty cruel and soul destroying. And I guess one of the first, not one of the first, one of the worst things that she would say to me is that I was selfish because I wanted to work at things and I always tried to help everybody, but she would call me selfish. And then when I got a job in an office when I was 16, she called me. I was the only family member that paid her like rent and board, and she called me a snob. And so she would undermine me even as a child. And I get that that was her younger version. Oh, I can feel it in my tummy. But it made me doubt myself. I thought I was really stupid for most of my life. And that wasn't just on mom. That was, I cultivated that too. But yeah, being selfish and greedy was another one because I wanted a good life. I wanted to earn money and I was greedy for wanting that as well. So I would say it's only been in my 50s, really. I'm 62 at the moment, but it wasn't until I was really in my 50s that I really worked out energetically, psychologically, spiritually, that there is abundance, that it's not greed, and I'm not selfish because I wanted good things for myself and others. And that I never thought of myself higher than anybody else. Do you know what I mean? And I really never did. But I realized that came from somebody who was a younger child that felt threatened by anything really, and me particularly because I'm the oldest and I was a girl. Yeah, so probably that had the most damaging. And then through the years, I was quite large, and yeah, there's been some horrible things said because of my weight and my size. Um, when I think about it, people are mean. No, I would say some people are, but in a way, I'm sitting here now, and I guess I've worked on myself for so long that it genuinely, anything like that, I feel like that's not anything to do with me. That's their shit. Sorry, that's their stuff. Do you know what I mean? I don't, but I guess earlier yeah, for many years I was affected by some of the stuff. I think the biggest thing was being fat. And I was put on my first diet when I was 10. Actually, that was probably the most damaging, was comments about my body. Actually, that started when I was younger and was controlled by food as well. Oh, yeah. Thank you for this. This is interesting.
I've I've had the words "you're a joke" used um towards me, and when I've shared my feelings about that, I've then received I didn't mean that. I meant you make our friendship a joke. And I felt a lot of shame and sadness hearing that. And I just flowed away from that energy. At the time, I remember feeling catastrophic pain in my heart. Because it wasn't something that I was expecting to hear. And I remember also feeling at the time it was said terror. I felt anxiety in my body. My heart was beating really, really fast. I would describe it like a butterfly trapped in a jar with its wings, wanting to get out, wanting to escape.
Frantic.
Yeah, yeah. And I do remember communicating at the time with this person that I felt all of these feelings. And I think I was told, I'll get over it. And at that point, I knew that I needed to flow away from that situation and take care of my heart, really. And I felt a lot of sadness because this came from a person who said he cared a lot about me. So yeah, I flowed away from that and focused on feeling all of my feelings. And it took me about 3 weeks. It took me about 3 weeks to really come through all of the feelings that I had. And I mostly I was feeling shame that I was some kind of failure or mistake, and sort of sitting with all of that shame for having the feelings that I had. And when I came out of those 3 weeks, I felt a longing for care and connection, but I also felt a huge amount of calmness in my heart that I could let go of something that no longer served me. But it took a long time to reach that point. And now when I look back on that situation, so now I am feeling some flutteriness in my chest talking about that. And I'm feeling some sadness as well, because I guess that is the experience of loss, the loss of the moments that were joyful, the loss of the moments where there was connection and care. And I can also feel gratitude for those moments where there was connection and care. And so I feel love for those moments. And now I also feel compassion. I feel compassion for myself for having gone through that. I feel compassion for the other person and what might be going through their world. But I also have a feeling of that's okay. That's not for me to deal with. That's for the other person to deal with. And I also feel a lot of self-care for myself, that I was able to not I could have very easily responded to my wounds and started attacking, and it becoming a tit for tat thing. And I just didn't have the energy. I didn't even want to give the energy to that kind of energy. And so I do feel enormous love for myself, that I could forgive and move away. Because we are all on our own journeys at the end of the day. And so now I guess I just feel peace and calmness for that happening. But yeah, when there are moments when I relive it, and I do feel sadness. But well, it is as it is. And I've had another thing that happened. I've talked to you about this before, where another person in my life, when I was a teenager, applied a similar sort of tactic, really. And I think it came from a place of fear. Anger, but also I think underneath that fear. And there was, from that person, I think they were trying to protect me, and they didn't really know how to protect me. And also I was at an age where I was individuating from my family of origin, and I actually didn't want protecting. I wanted to discover who I was. Yeah, that was hard to deal with at the time as a teenager. I can appreciate it all now. And just have compassion for the other person, really. I feel now that I can have compassion for people without being attached to them. And I feel a sense of freedom and ease in that I feel very grateful for discovering, really. So yeah.